If you believe the American dream is alive and well, and that putting a little bit of money into a 401k every month is going to make you a millionaire by the time you retire, you have been sold an illusion. The reality is mathematically terrifying. Everyone thinks that hitting $1 million in retirement savings is just a matter of time and basic discipline. But the actual data from the Federal Reserve paints a completely different picture. Only 3.2% of retired households in the United States actually cross that $1 million finish line. That is just 3 out of every 100 households. And remember, that is counting combined household income, meaning 2 people working their entire lives, putting their money together, and still, 97% of them fail to reach what is considered the baseline for a comfortable retirement. To understand how bad the situation really is, you have to look at the median retirement savings across all ages in the US. It is sitting at just $87,000. Even worse, if you look at people who are in their late 50s and early 60s, the people who are physically at the finish line, getting ready to leave the workforce, their median balance is around $185,000. If we apply the standard 4% withdrawal rule to that number, it means the average American is looking at about $8,000 of annual income from their investments to survive on for the rest of their lives. That is not a retirement. That is a financial crisis waiting to happen. So why is there such a massive disconnect between the expectation of becoming a millionaire and the brutal reality? The first and most destructive reason is the silent theft of purchasing power through inflation. We are programmed to look at the stock market going up, housing prices going up, and wages slightly increasing, and we think we are getting wealthier. But inflation is actively working against your ability to build wealth. The cost of shelter, healthcare, food, and energy has completely detached from the median wage. When basic survival takes up 80 to 90% of a paycheck, the mathematical ability to invest completely disappears. You cannot outsave an economic system that is designed to devalue the currency you are being paid in. But it is not just the system, it is human psychology. The second massive hurdle is social pressure and the fundamental misunderstanding of what wealth actually looks like. The modern American economy is built on debt-fueled consumption. We are constantly pressured to upgrade our cars, finance our lifestyles, and spend money we do not have to impress people we do not even like. The people who actually reach that $1 million milestone do not drive brand new luxury cars off the lot every 3 years. They are driving 10-year-old Toyotas. They are aggressively delaying gratification. They are taking the money that society tells them to spend on liabilities and funneling it directly into income-producing assets. And this brings us to the hardest part of the wealth-building equation, the math of compounding. When you are starting from zero, the journey to $1 million feels like climbing a mountain with no gear. Saving $500 a month feels completely pointless when your net worth is only $10,000. In those first 5 to 10 years, your portfolio growth is driven almost entirely by your own contributions. The interest is practically invisible. This is the exact phase where 90% of people give up. They look at their account balance, feel like they are making zero progress, and decide to just spend the money instead. But they do not realize that compounding is backloaded. A $50,000 portfolio growing at 10% only gives you $5,000 a year. But once you grind your way to $500,000, that exact same 10% return effortlessly generates $50,000 a year without you lifting a finger. By the time you get close to $1 million, the market is doing more heavy lifting in a single year than you did in your first decade of working. But here is the ultimate plot twist. Let us say you do everything right. You avoid the debt trap, you ignore the social pressure, you let your money compound, and you finally hit that $1 million mark. In today's economic climate, is it even enough? Using that same 4% rule, $1 million portfolio gives you roughly $40,000 a year. If you add the average Social Security payout to that, a retired couple might pull in around $88,000 annually. If your house is fully paid off and you live in a low-cost area, that is a very comfortable, secure life. But if you still have a mortgage, or if you live in a high-cost state, or if you face a major medical emergency, that $1 million suddenly looks very small. This is exactly why the traditional playbook of saving fiat currency in a target date fund is no longer enough to guarantee financial security. We are transitioning into an era where holding depreciating cash is the riskiest thing you can do. You have to understand the difference between paper wealth and hard assets. The smartest money in the world right now is entirely focused on scarcity. They are looking at the endless money printing from the Federal Reserve, the national debt spirals, and they are moving into assets that cannot be inflated away. This is the exact reason why the debate between Bitcoin and gold has become the most important financial conversation of our decade. For thousands of years, gold has been the ultimate inflation hedge. It is a physical Tier 1 asset that has preserved purchasing power through the collapse of every major empire and fiat currency in human history. When governments print money, gold absorbs that inflation. It is the ultimate defensive play for your portfolio. But then you have Bitcoin, the digital answer to a broken analog financial system. While gold is physically scarce, Bitcoin is mathematically absolute. There will only ever be 21 million coins. It is perfectly portable, instantly verifiable, and operates entirely outside the control of any central bank or government entity. Wall Street institutions that called it a scam 5 years ago are now accumulating it by the billions. They realize that in a world of infinite currency creation, an asset with absolute, unchangeable scarcity is the most powerful wealth preservation tool ever invented. Getting to $1 million is no longer just about cutting out daily coffee and putting money into a savings account. That era is dead. Today, securing your financial future requires a deep understanding of how money works, the discipline to acquire high-income skills, and the foresight to trade a constantly depreciating currency for fundamentally sound, scarce assets. The system is incredibly unforgiving, but the blueprint to beat it is right in front of you. The choice of whether you want to be part of the 97% who fail, or the 3% who succeed is entirely yours.